And you're muted, Trish. Your foghorn has issues. It needs an upgrade, I'm telling you.
I forgot to hit screen share, but it's still loud enough you heard it, sort of.
I did. I did. Okay. Very
Okay,
good.
good evening. Please be aware that the first hour and a half of this meeting will be recorded so that we can put it onto our website and our podcast. We record in audio only. Feel free to use the podcast on our website along with your big book as a resource if you missed the study portion of the meeting. The study portion is also listed on the website so that you can follow along. And in accordance with our group conscience in October of 2023, we will also be posting our podcast on YouTube, again in audio only. We feel that this is an effective way to carry our message to those seeking recovery in Alcoholics Anonymous. Tonight's recap will start on page 33 with the sentence, "Young people may be encouraged," and will end on page 35 where it says, "Of what is he thinking?" And tonight's study will start on page 35 with our first example is a friend, and will end on page 37, "Be called anything else." And are there any announcements?
Yeah, I've got a couple. Real quick. Good evening, family. My name is Jamie. Very grateful, recovered alcoholic, and so grateful that all of you are here tonight. We will have a group conscience coming up on March 18th. That's a Monday night at 6:30 p.m. Central Time, for all home group members. And check your emails. I will be sending out the GSR report, and Trish will be posting the secretary's report from the last group conscience as well. Read through that. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, welcome. We're very grateful to have you. And if you decide you like what we have to offer in this group and would like to become a home group member, you are more than welcome to. We always love growing the family. Then on the March 2nd or 22nd through the 24th, I will be going to Area 64 Second Quarter Assembly, representing this group as your GSR, and taking care of business on behalf of the group. So, that being said, we will move into the study. And again, good evening, family. My name is Jamie. I'm a very grateful recovered alcoholic, and welcome to the Lppbbsg Primary Purpose Big Book Study Group. To prepare for our Big Book study, let's get focused by having a 3-minute moment of, not really silent because we use the monks, so but we will have a meditation, and followed by our family's fog light prayer.
And I'm a recovered alcoholic. My name is Trish. Thanks for joining us tonight. We're going to start the meditation in a minute, so please take a moment to get situated.
Please be aware of background noises. When you are unmuted and sharing is not to distract others or yourself. We suggest we all observe proper Zoom etiquette. If you wouldn't do it in a live meeting, please don't do it here. And just a friendly reminder that absence of profanity offends no one. Please keep yourself muted during someone else's share, and we will call on you in the order that hands are raised.
From the foreword to the first edition of Alcoholics Anonymous. We of Alcoholics Anonymous are many thousands of men and women who have recovered from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. To show other alcoholics precisely how we have recovered is the main purpose of this book and of this group.
For the meditation, some suggestions are: focus on your breath and posture, breathe in God, and breathe out self.
Take this time to reconnect with God. Let the craziness of the day drift away and ask God to help you focus on the study.
And let's bring those cute little monks in to do what the monks do. And Pinky, in case you didn't notice, I co-hosted you just because. Enjoy your time with God, folks. And for those of you who wish to join us in our family's fog light prayer, it's on your screen in front of you. God, let your love shine through us like a fog light, so that those who are lost, sick, and dying can find your love through us. Amen.
And let's have our secretary's report.
Oh, Nick, did you get anybody? You may have to pick somebody from the gallery.
Yes, I forgot to pick someone. I'm sorry. Is it Lisa? Do you mind reading recovery statement? Is that okay?
It will be screen shared.
It is.
Okay. I'm Lisa, I'm an alcoholic.
Okay. So,
Oh,
1 second. All right. I'll tell you what. Hi, my name is Nicole, and I'm your recovered alcoholic secretary. I've asked Lisa to read the recovery statement. We read this notice to explain why many people in this group identify as recovered rather than recovering, and what it exactly means to be a recovered alcoholic. Take it away, Lisa.
I am Lisa, I'm an alcoholic. Recovered. We are not cured of alcoholism. Recovered, but not cured. That presents a conflict to some alcoholics. If we were cured, we would be able to drink responsibly. No, we are not cured. The allergic reaction to alcohol will remain with us for a lifetime. But we have been restored to sanity. That was the problem. The main problem of the alcoholic centers in his mind rather than in the body. Page 23. We are now sane where alcohol is concerned. Consequently, we have recovered.
Thank you, Lisa. You did great. Thank you for joining us tonight. We meet every Tuesday starting at 5:30 p.m. Central Time with the Gerbil Fellowship Cage, where we chatter for an hour before the start of the meeting. Feel free to bring side dishes to share with the buzzards. Our Big Book study starts promptly at 6:30 p.m. Central Time, and we ask that you be courteous and ready to begin at the sound of the foghorn. We take our Big Book study seriously. Because of this, the chat will be disabled during the study. In the 1940s, when the only elements to sobriety were God, a Big Book, and one recovered alcoholic working with an untreated alcoholic, the success rate was as follows. From the foreword to the second edition of Alcoholics Anonymous, page XX, of alcoholics who came to AA and really tried, 50% got sober at once and remained that way. 25% sobered up after some relapsed, and the remainder, those who stayed on with AA, showed improvement. Can we have a show of hands of people joining us for the first time?
We have a few. Welcome Paula, welcome Daryl, welcome Dolores, and we had a couple others, but I think they dropped out. Welcome.
Thank you, welcome. And those new to AA?
Hello, how you doing? Hi, everyone.
Welcome.
Hi, Laura. Welcome.
Welcome. And then the recovered alcoholics? Yeah, good. These are your potential sponsors. Is anyone celebrating a milestone this week? If you should require a Big Book of your own, we have large print editions available that can be sent to you by buzzard mail. Delivery time questionable. Please remember to practice our summer tradition by donating to the group address, Venmo, or PayPal posted in chat and on the screen. Our suggestion is to purchase a Big Book and take an untreated alcoholic through the program of recovery. Please feel free to visit our website posted in the chat. Thank you and see you next week.
Thank you so much, Nicole and Lisa, for your service tonight, and we will get postings up of our other meetings again as well for those of you who came in later. From Chapter 2, there is a solution. The tremendous fact for every one of us is that we have discovered a common solution. We have a way out on which we can absolutely agree and upon which we can join in brotherly and harmonious action. This is the great news this book carries to those who suffer from alcoholism.
This is an open meeting, and as such, all who have an interest in alcoholism and our program of recovery are welcome. Because this is an open meeting, you need not identify yourself nor your reason for being here if you do not wish to do so. Your anonymity will be protected. We ask that you protect ours.
While this is an open meeting, membership in this group is limited to those who wish to recover from alcoholism and have a desire to stop drinking for good and all. Each member of Alcoholics Anonymous is a potential sponsor of a new member and should clearly recognize the obligations and duties of such a responsibility.
Before we begin our study of the Big Book, last week we reviewed Tradition 12. Tonight, let's take a quick look at Tradition 1. Please refer to page 562 of Alcoholics Anonymous.
Hey, I'm Stephanie. I'm a recovered alcoholic. 562.1, short version is, our common welfare should come first. Personal recovery depends upon AA unity. Over on 563, the long form, each member of Alcoholics Anonymous is but a small part of a great whole. AA must continue to live, or most of us will surely die. Hence, our common welfare comes first, but individual welfare follows close afterwards. Okay, we're going to start by just asking, how many of you out there consider yourself like a loner? Raise your hand if you do. Okay. Get over it. You're going to have to sacrifice that. Because it's we comes before me. So as I was reading this, it caused me to look into myself and some of the motives that I've had when making requests or changing things, and realizing that my motive was self-serving and not for the the wellness of the whole group. And I don't mean just in this group, because this is applicable to your family, your friends, your job, AA. Of course, we're talking about AA. So, you ever heard that song by the Osmonds, "One bad apple can spoil a whole bunch of girls"? Well, we're all responsible for our actions, our words, and for the well-being of our group. So our group can only be as healthy as those of us that are in it. So we've got to strive to be our best for the group, and to watch out for those little niggly things. And I've done it myself, and it really caused me to see things that I hadn't realized that I was doing. And also, our behavior in here and our talk is very important. We have a newcomer come in, and they think they've found a safe place to be, and then if somebody starts gossiping or going somewhere they don't need to, then that is bad. That's bad. You're gonna make them lose their standing that they found with us. So that's all I've got. So just remember, number one tradition: we before me.
Love it.
That's all.
Love it, Steph. Thank you. One is the loneliness. Okay, enough of my silliness. And it's time for our weekly segment of That Ain't in the Book. We hear a lot of stuff said in meetings that can't be reconciled with the program as described in the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. What follows is one of the things we often hear, along with what the Big Book actually has to say on the subject. And I love this. What are some of those things that we hear? There are no musts in the program. Jim's going to come in and tell us what the book has to say on that on page 66 in the 4th paragraph. Jim, welcome.
Thank you. I'm Jim. I am an alcoholic. And what the Big Book actually says is, we saw that these resentments must be mastered. But how?
Thank you so much, my friend. Thank you for your service tonight.
As we study, please make use of the pens, highlighters, and rulers so that you can share this experience with another alcoholic.
And let me flip the page here. In order for us to stay focused as we study the Big Book, we use the Big Book Study Guide prepared by Joe and Charlie and Krusty Cliff of the Dallas Primary Purpose Group.
Tonight, we're going to start our recap on page 33, which will be read tonight by Nancy, followed by our study portion, which will be read by Julia.
After the page is read, we will go back to the imaginary... read that wrong. After the page is read, we will ask questions from the imaginary podium, starting back where our study portion began tonight. The answers will be one sentence coming directly out of the Big Book unless otherwise specified, and multi-part questions are simply one sentence answers split up by commas, semicolons, hyphens, and other fun bits of punctuation.
Basically, in English, what that means is we're going to read the material once through and then dissect the information a second time through the question and answer format. Notice how the language in the questions gives us a new light in which to consider the study material.
This is important because hearing the question and rereading the content offers a definite way of comprehending the material covered. After we have completed the study, we open up for comment, questions, observations based on what we just read. If you've had spiritual experiences with this information, also please by all means share. Please keep your share on topic and under 5 minutes. At the 5-minute mark, Trish might hold up a cute dog. I might hold up a cute dog to let you know that your time is finished.
However, Big Book study is not therapy. Should you begin sharing on topics which are more appropriately discussed in a different setting, for example, with your sponsor, please do not be offended when we cut that conversation short and send the buzzards nipping at your heels. For that purpose, we have fellowship meetings before and after our study time.
See what happens when I turn the page too soon? Almost interrupted you, Trish. You can never go wrong by commenting on the pages studied, which brings us to the words of one of our co-founders of Alcoholics Anonymous. Sobriety, freedom from alcohol, through the teaching and practice of the 12 steps, is the sole purpose of any Alcoholics Anonymous group.
And before we get started, let's take a quick look at how we arrived here, because we didn't just open the book and say, hey, let's look at page 35 tonight. This meeting started back in January of 2020 in Jamie's living room, and then shut down for a little while, as most meetings did during COVID, and then came back as hybrid, and then became an exclusively Zoom meeting. Which is great, because that way we can all meet together. And we start on the title page each time we start the book with our first promise, how many thousands of men and women have recovered from alcoholism. And we work our way through the first 164 pages, line by line, sentence by sentence, with our question and answer format. And then once we get to page 164, we also take a look at Dr. Bob's nightmare, the traditions, and 3 times during the study, we refer to the spiritual experience in the appendix as Appendix 2, because the footnote tells us to. And then our final week of the study, week 94, we do a week just on the spiritual experience as a standalone study without the other pages where the footnote tells us to. So it's a 94-week study. We're in our 4th year. We're in our 3rd season of going through the book. And I hope you keep coming back, because each time I go through it, I learn new stuff.
Thank you, Trish. And tonight is week 25 of this season. And before I bring Nancy in to do the recap of last week's study, we will need about 5 or 6 virtual hands raised for those of you who would like to be question answers directly out of the book as we follow along when the time comes. So please feel free to raise your hand and participate. Nancy, welcome, my friend.
Nancy, alcoholic. Young people may be encouraged by this man's experience to think that they can stop, as he did, on their own free willpower. We doubt if many of them can do it, because none will really want to stop, and hardly one of them, because of the peculiar mental twist already acquired, will find he can win out. Several of our crowd, men of 30s or less, had been drinking only a few years, but they found themselves as helpless as those who had been drinking 20 years. To be gravely affected, one does not necessarily have to drink a long time, nor take the quantities some of us have. This is particularly true to women. Potential female alcoholics often turn into the real thing and are gone beyond recall in a few years. Certain drinkers, who would be greatly insulted if called alcoholics, are astonished at their inability to stop. We, who are familiar with the symptoms, see large numbers of potential alcoholics among young people everywhere. But try and get them to see it. As we look back, we feel that we had gone on drinking many years beyond the point where we could quit on our willpower. If anyone questions whether he has entered this dangerous area, let him try leaving liquor alone for 1 year. If he is a real alcoholic and very far advanced, there is a scant chance of success. In the early days of our drinking, We occasionally remain sober for a year or more, becoming serious drinker again later. Though you may be able to stop for a considerable period, you may yet be a potential alcoholic. We think few to whom this book will appeal can stay dry anything like a year. Some will be drunk the day after making their resolutions, most of them within a few weeks. For those who are unable to drink moderately, the question is how to stop altogether, that the reader decides to stop. Whether such a person can quit upon a non-spiritual basis depends upon the extent to which he has already lost the power to choose whether he will drink or not. Many of us felt that we had plenty of character. There was a tremendous urge to cease forever, yet we found it impossible. This is the baffling future of alcoholism as we know it. This utter inability to leave it alone, no matter how great the necessity or the wish. How then shall we help our readers determine, to their own satisfaction, whether they are one of us? The experiment of quitting for a period of time will be helpful, but we think we can render an even greater service to alcoholic sufferers and perhaps to the medical fraternity. So we shall describe some of the mental states that precede a relapse into drinking, for obviously this is the crux of the problem. What sort of drinking dominates an alcoholic who repeats time and time the desperate experiment of the first drink? Friends who have reasoned with him after a spree which has brought him to the point of divorce or bankruptcy are mystified when he walks directly into a saloon. Why does he, of what is he thinking? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nancy. And we could use about another 2 or 3 hands raised to be question answers tonight. And would like to welcome Julia to come in and read tonight's study for first time. So welcome, Julia.
Hi everyone, I'm Julia. I'm an alcoholic. Our first example is a friend we shall call Jim. This man has a charming wife and family. He inherited a lucrative automobile agency. He had a commendable World War record. He is a good salesman. Everybody likes him. He's an intelligent man, normal so far as we can see, except for a nervous disposition. He did no drinking until he was 35. In a few years he became so violent when intoxicated that he had to be committed. On leaving the asylum, he came into contact with us. We told him that we knew of alcoholism and the answer we had found. He made a beginning. His family was reassembled, and he began to work as a salesman for the business he had lost through drinking. All went well for a time, but he failed to enlarge his spiritual life. To his consternation, he found himself drunk 6 times in rapid succession. On each of these occasions, we worked with him, reviewing carefully what had happened. He agreed he was a real alcoholic and in a serious condition. He knew he faced another trip to the asylum if he kept on. Moreover, he would lose his family for whom he had a deep affection. Yet he got drunk again. We asked him to tell us exactly how it happened. This is his story. I came to work on Tuesday morning. I remember I felt irritated that I had to be a salesman for a concern I once owned. I had a few words with the boss, but nothing serious. Then I decided to drive into the country and see one of my prospects for a car. On the way I felt hungry, so I stopped at a roadside place where they have a bar. I had no intention of drinking. I just thought I would get a sandwich. I also had the notion that I might find a customer for a car at this place, which was familiar for I had been going to it for years. I had eaten there many times during the months I was sober. I sat down at a table and ordered a sandwich and a glass of milk. Still no thought of drinking. I ordered another sandwich and decided to have another glass of milk. Suddenly the thought crossed my mind that if I were to put an ounce of whiskey in my milk, it couldn't hurt me on a full stomach. I ordered a whiskey and poured it into the milk. I vaguely sensed I was not being any too smart, but I felt reassured as I was taking the whiskey on a full stomach. The experiment went so well that I ordered another whiskey and poured it into more milk. That didn't seem to bother me, so I tried another. Thus started one more journey to the asylum for Jim. Here was the threat of commitment, the loss of family and position, to say nothing of that intense mental and physical suffering which drinking always caused him. He had much knowledge about himself as an alcoholic, yet all reasons for not drinking were easily pushed aside in favor of the foolish idea that he could not take whiskey if only he mixed it with milk. Whatever the precise definition of the word may be, we call this plain insanity. How can such a lack of proportion of the ability to think straight be called anything else?
Thank you so much, Julia. We appreciate your participation tonight. Nothing like jumping into service at your first meeting here. Okay, we are going to go back to where Julia started tonight. I'll ask the questions. Again, the answers will be one sentence answers unless otherwise specified, and those answers will be split up. Multi-part questions will be split up by commas, semicolons, hyphens, and other fun bits of punctuation. Trish will also be coming in with a few comments along the journey tonight as well, and she kicks it off with a comment.
So as we study Jim's story, look for similarities between your story and his.
And we're going to kick it off with Kenny. First question, what kind of family did Jim have? 2 sentences, please.
I'm trying, okay, we on
Page 35, right where she started reading tonight. Our first example.
Our first example is a friend we shall call Jim. This man has a charming wife and family.
Thank you. And Lisa, you will need to unmute Nicole, so will you. And coming to Nancy next. Nancy, what had he inherited?
He inherited a lucrative automobile agency.
Thank you. William, how was his war record?
He had a commendable World War record.
Thank you. Nicole, was he good at his profession?
He is a good salesman.
Thank you. And Lisa, this is going to be a 3-part question. A, was he likable? B, was he normal or abnormal? And C, except for what?
He is a good salesman. Everybody liked him. He is an intelligent man, normal so far as we can see, except for a nervous disposition.
Thank you. And Paula, you had your hand up, but it dropped. Did you want to read?
Sure, Jamie. Are you going to ask me a question?
Yep. I'll ask you the question, and the answer will come right out of the book, line by line. So,
okay.
So thank you so much. So the question is, when did he start drinking?
He did no drinking until he was 35.
Thank you so much. And Kenny, I'm going to come back to you so we can get back in normal rotation the way that I wrote it down. Nancy, did it take him very long to get into trouble with his drinking?
In a few years, he became so violent when intoxicated that he had to be committed.
Thank you. Kenny, what happened to him when he left the mental institution?
On leaving the asylum, he came into contact with us.
Thank you. William, what 2 things did the AAs tell him?
We told him what we knew of alcoholism and the answer we had found.
Thank you. Lisa, what did he do?
He made a beginning.
Thank you.
What could we assume from this statement to make a beginning?
Thank you, Trish. And Nicole, what happened as a result of that effort?
His family was reassembled and he began to work as a salesman for the business he had lost through drinking.
Thank you so much. And Paula, coming to you, my friend, what did he not do?
He all went well for a time, but he failed to enlarge his spiritual life.
Perfect.
How do we develop our spiritual life in Alcoholics Anonymous? Have those we have seen relapse failed to enlarge their spiritual lives?
Thank you, Trish. And Nancy, coming back to you, how many times did he wind up drunk?
On each of this occasion, he worked with him, reviewing carefully what had happened.
Oh, no.
No.
To his consternation.
To his consternation, he found himself drunk half a dozen times in rapid succession.
Thank you. That would be equivalent to 6 white chips these days, folks. You have a comment, Trish.
That was my comment. Would this be the equivalent 6 Desire chips today?
See, I wasn't even looking at the comment. It's something I've said so many times in working with others. Kenny, coming to you. 2-part question. A, how many times did the recovered alcoholics go to see him? And B, what did the AAs do?
On each of these occasions, we worked with him, reviewing carefully what had happened.
Okay, thank you. And William, on what did he agree with the AAs?
He agreed he a real alcoholic and in serious condition.
Thank you. Padawan Pickle, here comes your question. What did he know would happen if he drank again?
He knew he faced another trip to the asylum if he kept on.
Thank you so much. And Lisa, coming to you. Even more important, what else did he know would happen?
Moreover, he would lose his family for whom he had a deep affection.
Thank you. Trish, can you get the door? And Paula, yet what did he, let me try that again. Yet he did what?
Yet he got drunk again.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for bearing with my confusion this evening, folks. Nancy, coming back to you. What did the AAs do?
We asked him to tell us exactly how it happened.
Thank you. Kenny, how was Jim on Tuesday morning?
This is his story. I came to work on Tuesday morning.
Do you wonder where he was on Monday morning? A lot of alcoholics are bad about Mondays.
True story. William, coming to you, sir. What was the source of his irritation?
I remember I felt irritated that I had to be a salesman for the concern I once owned.
Thank you. And Nicole, did he speak to his boss?
I had a few words with the boss, but nothing serious.
Thank you. Lisa, what did he decide to do?
Then I decided to drive into the country and see one of my prospects for a car.
Thank you. Paula, 2-part question. A, along the way, what happened? And B, so what did he do?
On the way, I felt hungry, so I stopped at a roadside place where they have a bar.
Thank you. That's it right there. Thank you. And Nancy, coming back to you, did he stop for a drink?
I had no intention of drinking.
Thank you. Kenny, what did he think he would do?
I just thought I would get a sandwich.
Thank you. William, 2-part question. A, what else did he hope he might find? And B, was this place unfamiliar to him?
I also had the notion that I might find a customer for a car at this place, which I was familiar with. I have been going to it for years.
Thank you so much. Padawan Pickle, coming back to you. Was he setting himself up for a slip by stopping there?
I had eaten there many times during the months I was sober.
Thank you. Lisa, coming back to you. What did he do after he sat down?
I sat down at a table and ordered a sandwich and a glass of milk.
Thank you. And Paula, coming back to you, my friend. Had the thought of drinking crossed his mind?
Still no thought of drinking.
Thank you. Obviously, I'm terribly dyslexic tonight. Nancy, coming back to you. He apparently was still hungry, so what did he do?
I ordered another sandwich and decided to have another glass of milk.
Thank you. And William, what insane thought suddenly crossed his mind?
Suddenly, the thought crossed in my mind that if I was to put an ounce of whiskey in my milk, it could not hurt me on a full stomach.
Thank you. Kenny, I had accidentally skipped you. I'm coming back to you. Did he act sanely on the insane thought?
I ordered a whiskey and poured it into the milk.
That's one.
Thank you. Trish, can you get to the door, please? And so coming to Nicole now. Two-part question, Padawan. A, what did he sense? And B, what thought preceded his defense to take the first drink?
I vaguely sensed I was not being any too smart, but felt reassured I was taking it for the whiskey on a full stomach.
Thank you so much. And Lisa, coming to you. So what did he do?
The experiment went so well that I ordered another whiskey and poured it into more milk.
That's two.
Paula, coming to you. And then what did he do?
That didn't seem to bother me, so I tried another.
That's three. Did these three drinks produce the allergic reaction, craving for more drinks, that an alcoholic has to alcohol? Let's find out.
And Nancy, coming back to you. Where did those three drinks take him?
Thus started one more journey to the asylum for Jim.
Thank you. Kenny, two-part question. A, what was placed at risk by taking those three drinks? And B, what else was he to experience as a result of this spree?
Here was the threat of commitment, the loss of family and position, to say nothing of the intense mental and physical suffering which drinking always caused him.
Thank you. And William, coming to you, sir. Did he know he was an alcoholic?
He had much knowledge about himself as
Thank
an
you.
alcoholic.
Thank you so much. And Nicole, coming to you. What happened to all the reasons he had for not taking the first drink?
Yet all the reasons for not drinking very easily pushed aside in favor of the foolish idea that he could take whiskey if only he mixed it with milk.
Did the mental obsession precede the first drink?
Thank you, Trish. And Lisa, what would we or anyone else call this action?
Whatever the precise definition of the word may be, we call this plain insanity.
Thank you. And Paula, you get the final question of the night, my friend. What other term would be appropriate?
How can such a lack of proportion of the ability to think straight be called anything else.
Wonderful. Thank you, everybody. Well done. Well done. Excellent. And for those of you who are here for the first or second time, thank you so much for your participation. We always enjoy it when it happens like that. And welcome to everyone else who has joined us. Now the meeting is open for questions, comments, observations, spiritual experiences with this material. Please share your journey with us. So the floor is open. All of you know how to raise your hands. And if you don't, do something like this in your screen and get my attention. I see it's going to be the dental chair tonight. Come on in, Jim.
Hey, good evening, everybody. I'm Jim. I'm an alcoholic. Yeah, for some reason I can't find on my computer where I raise my hand, so I go like this. This reading, I like old Jim. Reminds me of myself, not just because his name is Jim. You know, I've got that, those mental blank spots in that, the thinking, you know, right before, oh yeah, you know, if I do it like this, it'll be fine. Maybe I could just have one or two. Yeah, it's a joke, you know. And the same, and I know I've been in and out of program for a long time. I know a lot about the program. I know a lot about myself. Like it says, yet all reasons for not drinking were easily pushed aside in favor of the foolish idea, whatever my idea might be. Sad, sorry to say it, but I have mixed whiskey with milk before when I was very young. Yeah, you know, it's all, and I see in this reading, I see all the little things, you know, coming in, you know, he missed Monday at work, obviously, comes into work feeling irritated, have a few words with the boss, go out on your own somewhere, left to my own devices. Oh, sure, I can see it happening. Like, you know, it's happened to me, just not in the precise way it happened here. So, yeah, I'm an alcoholic, but I'm doing something about it now. So, I don't know, I guess I'm probably not making any sense, but I wanted to put my 2 cents in.
Oh,
so, thanks, everybody.
Excellent. One day you'll throw quarters at us instead of 2 cents. Glad you're here, friend. Glad you are definitely here. So, Daryl, you wanted to be called on. For anybody who doesn't know how to raise their hands, at the bottom of your screen, if you tap on it, you can highlight your screen. If you go to more, there will be an option to raise your hand. So, Daryl, go ahead and come on in. Welcome.
Okay. Before I actually start sharing, one of the girls on here, I was trying to explain to her, about it, but I was letting her know, because she's in my DUI class, and I was letting her know that when it's her turn, y'all will be able to explain it to her a little better than I could, because she got to do this as well as me, and we're trying to better ourselves. And I'm going to let her talk for herself. Her name is Dolores. But my name is Daryl, and I'm an alcoholic. Well, really, I hate saying that part, but I've been sober for almost 2 months now. I got a DUI, obviously. It was mandatory for me to take a AA meeting. But now I'm just doing it on my own because I want to try to, and I like this session of when I first came, it was not so many of us, but everybody seeing it really down to earth and understanding. And I realized that I needed this to see what was wrong with me. But I don't know, like I think this is an amazing class for anybody that's actually trying to be sober. You can meet people that might not be just like you, but we all have some kind of similarity because we all are doing AA. And Yeah, that's basically it. I know I didn't have much to share this time, but my brain is on overload because I'm trying to get into the habit of actually coming on these AA meetings on the regular to try to keep myself from going backwards. So that's it.
Very, very cool. Thank you, my friend. We're glad you're here. And when you come to literature meetings early on in recovery, you have a much better chance. Dolores, I'll get to you eventually, but we have some other hands up. Xavier, come on in, brother. Good to see you tonight.
Oh, good evening, Xavier, recovered alcoholic. Glad to be here. Sorry to be late. We just got back. We did our Valentine's date early, and I got a 3-year-old behind me as always. All right, I'll quickly say the ending I caught. I love being in a room full of alcoholics, trying to explain via the story that insanity that goes in the mind before the first drink. And I always love the concept of I have an obsession. I have, it's smarter than my mind. It's smarter than my willpower. And the moment I can accept that, like, my willpower is very weak compared to my obsession, and the only thing that can trump an obsession is a higher power. So if I spend my energy, instead of saying I'm not going to drink, if I spend my energy taking action so that I can have a connection with a higher power that allows me not to drink one day at a time, like, that's where my energy should go towards. And when I realize, like, I'm not mentally strong enough to stop myself from drinking, and I truly am powerless, like, that for me is like the real definition of powerlessness. Not only the physical, but the mental. And for me, like, that's a relief because I can stop wasting my time trying to not drink. And I can instead start putting my energy into taking actions like sponsoring people, doing step work, going to meetings, praying throughout the day, doing all those suggestions that the steps say, like, on a daily basis. And if I do those things, then my higher power, that connection, will stop me from drinking one day at a time. So really important connection. And I love, like, just the crazy thought, like milk with whiskey, like that insane, ridiculous, there's 0.0 logic thought, but I've had a million of those and I do it anyway. So I always relate a lot to that story. I see myself in these stories, and I'm really grateful to be here. So that's all I got. I'll pass. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. And the logic behind the milk with whiskey thought is, if I coat my stomach, alcohol won't have such an effect on me. Larry, welcome, my friend. Come on in.
Yes, I'm Larry, and I'm an alcoholic. I've always liked this story. It's always made no sense because alcohol never does, or alcoholism. You know, we do crazy things. We always, you know, and I remember I did everything to not stop, you know, drinking alcohol. You know, I did not want to stop drinking. Yet, you know, I did not want to admit that I could not maintain myself. You know, I made such good money, and therefore I could not be such a alcoholic. And I was living in Las Vegas. I was a scuba diver there, and insanely making insane money. But it got to a point that, you know, I was leaving work, going to the home for a couple hours, going straight to the gambling halls, leaving the casinos, and to me, I thought that if I stopped drinking at a certain time, that I would be sober enough to go to work from the casino and nobody would know the difference, except that the time that I'd stopped drinking got shorter and shorter between the time that I'd go to work. But I thought that nobody would notice. I thought I had it handled until my boss saw me and, long story short, said, you're either going to get a pink slip today or you're going to volunteer layoff. And, you know, I lost the best job I ever did. You would think that that would give me an idea to say I'm an alcoholic, but no, I remember in my sane mind that no, I have another contact. Somebody had been asking me to do a job in New York to take a job as one of the 10 valve techs that they wanted in the UA. So I called them immediately to see if I could get on, and sure enough, there was still room, and so I took that job. And I remember that I started that job. I was making $70 an hour as a scuba diver, and I remember taking the job for the UA at $50 an hour. And when I was first doing it, I remember thinking that they were truly underpaying me. That they were not paying me what I was worth at $50 an hour. You know, it kind of reminds me of this guy going into work being upset because he once owned the establishment, you know. I was not at all, you know, happy that I got this job. I was actually, you know, feeling like, you know, they owed me more than a job. They should be paying me more than what they were paying me. And they were paying me great wages. And I should have been thankful that I was getting what I want. I should have been on the street. Long story short, I lost that job because, you know, of injury because of alcoholism, of course. And, you know, it took me forever to get into this. And not only that, that job cost me a lot of moral democracy. I had to do things on that job that I morally should not have had to do. I hurt people, a lot of people, because of the job that I did. They lost their jobs because of the job we were doing on valve techs, as a valve tech. And I never thought that I would become the person that I was, working for the UA. I felt so bad after I left there, morally and physically, that I was never the same. And alcoholism took me in that direction. But it took that much to get me to where I am today, to finally see that I needed help. I would not have accepted it any other way. And those are the things that I find myself the same as this story is, that I find that I did things, that I made concessions, that I tried different things to stop doing so I wouldn't have to say that I was an alcoholic, or that, I remember switching whiskey and water so I wouldn't have hangovers. I did a lot of maneuvering in my career, trying not to, so that I would not be what I am. But thank God that one day I figured out that that was exactly what I am, and because of it, I found this program, and this program has saved my life. And it has given me riches untold. And I have a life to be proud of today. And that's all I got.
Thank you, Larry. Glad you're here, brother. And in your share, you just gave me your pickle name, Flipper Pickle. Paula.
Flipper Pickle. What did I do?
Flipper Pickle, because you were a scuba diver. Paula,
okay.
Paula, come on in, my friend. Welcome. Glad to have you join us tonight.
Thank you, Jamie. I'm Paula, and I'm an alcoholic, and I can't wait till you pick out a name for me. So, but anyway, what I related to in this reading tonight is this sentence. It's just before Jim's story. It's whether such a person can quit upon a non-spiritual basis depends upon the extent to which he has already lost the power to choose whether he will drink or not. So, my experience with that is, as I was heavily drinking every night when I came home from work, my pattern was drinking, passing out at 8 o'clock at night. Didn't know there was life after 8 p.m. at night until I got sober. But anyway, I would pass out at 8 o'clock at night, and I would wake up at 3 in the morning sweating and go back to sleep. But this one night, I woke up at 10 o'clock, and I was on my way out to the liquor store. I put my clothes on, my shoes on. I was on my way out to the liquor store at 10 o'clock at night, not 3 a.m. in the morning. Here I am, fully awake now, and I want a bottle of alcohol. And I had this sober moment, this moment of clarity, which I said to myself, maybe I'm not in control of this thing. I think I'm in control of this thing, and I might not be in control of this thing. So, that didn't last long. I had some more drinking to do before I got to the end of my road here. But, during that time, I'm burning my life to the ground. And now in Jim's story, I go to Jim's story, and I like this line: I had no intention of drinking. So I would leave work every night at 5 o'clock, and I would say, I'm not stopping at the liquor store tonight. I'm not stopping. I'm going straight home. And that car would just drive itself into the liquor store parking lot. And I had a rotation of stores within a 2-mile radius of my home. So I wouldn't be shamed or embarrassed that people would know how much I was drinking. And so, when it says I had no intention of drinking, that was true, but I didn't have, this suddenly, the thought crossed my mind. There is no suddenly. I've always been taught that in AA. There is no suddenly. I may have had that thought of no intention of drinking when I left work, but there it was. I didn't have control over it. This is my true powerlessness over alcohol, because I did not have a spiritual program at that point. So that's what I was doing. I was burning my life to the ground, and it was truly progressive, and it took a lot to get me to stop drinking. So thank you for this reading, Jamie. It's really great, and I'm happy to be here.
Thank you, my dear friend, and I hope you will come back and join us often. Anthony, New York Deli Pickle, come on in, sir. You're muted, Anthony. Yeah, mute button.
Okay, I'm in Anthony. I'm in. Yeah.
There you go. You're good. Welcome.
Okay, I'm in Anthony. Yes, thank you. My name is Anthony, New York Deli Pickle. All right, I'm an alcoholic from New York, so I'm in the meeting. Thank you. Good meeting. Yeah, I wouldn't think how to mix milk with whiskey. I never drank whiskey. It's like, ew. But to put milk with it, my father used to drink whiskey. That's a nasty drink. I don't know. My drink was 151 rum. Rum, Bacardi, Heineken, on the other hand, Two Fists of Drinking. Drank for 27 years, hit my bottom May 20th, 1994. I haven't had a drink since, but I relapsed twice. I got 5 years without using anything. I relapsed on dry goods, liquid dry goods, so I got high off it. So anyway, see you here or there. I addressed that problem with another fellowship. So at the time I'm here, I come here every Tuesday. I got a nice gig. The manager's so nice to me. I can't believe it. I don't know what to do. You know, he said something to me. I told him I'll go to the meditation. He says, don't, he says to me, be careful, you might go crazy and you'll never come back. I started cracking up. I said, you don't know what I've been through. I've been through the ringer, man, several times. ODs, convulsions, driving accidents, alcohol. I've been through it all. Thank God I'm still here. Thank God for the people in AA that help me keep staying here. Thank God for this meeting. The newcomer, man, this is the place to be, man. Life gets better here, man, day at a time. Put that drink down, learn how to use your mind, learn how to handle things. Even today, someone had to pump my coat because I wasn't doing the right thing. So I said, wait a minute. I took the suggestion. I did the right thing. I called that person, asked them how they were. You need other assistance. I did the right thing. And I should be doing the right thing because I'm in the line of work where I'm supposed to be helping people. But anyway, but if you get me all resentful up, man, I don't feel like helping nobody. So it's a process, you know. It's a process. Remove it, empty my channel, open my channel to my higher power from me, just spirit, man, to do the right thing, man, you know. So that's where I'm at. I did the right thing today. I didn't drink. I didn't hurt myself. I didn't hurt nobody else. And today's a good day, man. I'm resting. I go back tomorrow. I'm just grateful, man. Newcomer, man. When you come in here, you gotta be grateful, man. I'm a senior recovery. I'm getting up there, but it's all good. It's all good, man. It's all good. So I'm happy to be here. You guys are awesome. I'm still learning, how to do this, but I'm glad I'm here. So you guys helped me the last time I was here. You guys helped me a lot. All the participants helped me out. You really gave me a lot of clarity. I want to thank the group too. We did the after meeting. Gave me a lot of clarity. And newcomer, if you're confused like I was, even though I got time, it doesn't mean anything. It means a lot to me though. Hey man, just keep coming. You come here, ask questions, man. They'll answer them for you. They'll give you the original, the real deal, man. The real literature, man. This is the place to be. Just keep coming, man. Call some people up, newcomers, say hello. That's it. You take it from there. So anyway, I wish everybody a nice evening. Thank you for your love and service. With that, I pass. My name is Anthony, New York Deli Pickle. Oh, by the way, I did have a pastrami, roast beef, and it's all good. Ciao.
Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it. And I can smoke a pastrami that's better than anything I've ever had in New York.
I know. I gotta get that one day. Don't worry, we're from the Bronx. We gotta go down there one day and visit. Don't worry, one day.
One day you will. William, good evening, brother. Come on in.
Awesome.
Good evening to everybody. My name is William Alcohol. I just want to tell Anthony, man, we share here, man. Don't tell us about it afterward. Bring it to the meeting and share it with us. I'm alcoholic. My name is William, and I love doing this, because I get so much enlightenment on myself as alcoholism, because when I was out there, I didn't see or know anything. I just obeyed alcoholism, and I did whatever it told me to do, And whenever I come here, I begin to see myself in the process, and that's the thing, and definitely have to be some lack of stuff done in order for me to be here today. Application of what I learned. And most important thing I learned that they had to give it to me this way when I got here. They told me that only 10% was the alcohol, other 90% was my thinking. So I have to go through the practical experience of that to understand what they was talking about. I didn't get sober when I first got here. It took me some time. I thank God I'm here today. Because a stomach full of alcohol and a head full of AA just don't mix. So I get a chance to see my struggle in the room of alcoholism, and I get a chance to see where I'm at today. And where I'm at today, I'm getting a little bit better understanding of the disease and a little bit understanding the process. And I like this part right here. This thing, when they talk to Jim, he said we told him what we knew of alcoholism and the answer we had found. He made a beginning. His family was reassembled, okay? And he began to work at the silver for the business he had lost through drinking. And all went well. But, see, when you say but, it changed the narrative, everything that was said before that, But he failed to enlarge his spiritual life, I understand that today, you know what I mean? Before I never understood that, because I had a sponsor, I had a sponsor that told me when I got the alcohol anonymous, I began to sober up and I began to realize the materialistic stuff that I had put into alcoholism, because not only did I drink it, but I loved it, the behavior, man. So I loved it, the behavior. So I drank like one make me feel this good, another one make me feel that better. So I wanted to get all that materialistic stuff back right away, Yeah. My sponsor told me something like this, and I still remember today. My sponsor told me something like this. Okay. I ain't gonna tell you what you can't do, but I'm gonna tell you what you have to do. Make a list of all the things that you want to do. But on top of that list, put God, the things you need to do in AA. Now, if you finish that list, you can do anything you want to do. Not only did my sponsor tell me that, told me what to do, you know what I mean? And I tell you, that list was a year long. Probably haven't finished that list today because I definitely didn't get all the materialistic stuff that I threw away back, But I got a peace of mind, back, and that's more than any money could buy, you know what I mean? Anyhow, but he failed to enlarge his spiritual thing. Now, I remember I was confused about spirituality. What was spirituality? And they told me something like this: practice, practice, practice. I said, practice what? Pick up ashtrays, fold up chairs, say hello to somebody who knew coming in the doors. Practice. They say, how did you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice, practice. Those people don't come professional people. They practice, practice, practice. So I sort of understood that. They said, do it without expecting anything in return. So that was the spiritual thing that I got from it, And I got so much more from practicing like that, Today, it put me to a space, a peace of mind, where it taught me how to love unconditionally. Okay? How to love unconditionally and do somebody, But in the process, I still learned how to set boundaries for myself, And definitely, I'm at peace where I'm at today, And over there on the other side, and this was they gave me a little piece at a time, and they put it in a simple way that I could understand it. They know I was a practice person. They knew that I was going to go out there and do something, so they put it in a way whenever I did what I did, that I would understand the program, So they say he failed to enlarge his spiritual life. He put all his family and everything in front of the spiritual part of the program. As soon as he got his family back, he left. And that's the way I was. I had a trucking company. I had a whole lot of stuff that I had threw away, and I just wanted everything back, you know. So I struggled for 18 months. For 18 months, I struggled. But this part they really helped me. Whatever the precise definition of word may be, we call this plan insanity. You know, whenever he went out and picked up a drink, you know, and that's what they told me. Say, insanity is not you running down the street with a lampshade over your head. You know, insanity is if you pick up a drink after all the information that we have given you. If you pick up a drink, that is insane. And I know that's what it was because I read it there. He was on his way to the insane asylum, you know. So, you know, I thank God, you know, that I did some damage. I ain't gonna say I didn't, you know, but I thank God I found it not necessary to pick up a drink today. You know, today, and things have gotten better. You know, things have gotten better. So thank you so much, everybody, for helping me today and keeping me coming, you know, because I'm still learning myself. Thank you.
Thank you, William. Glad you're here. Lisa, come on in, and Dolores, you will be after Lisa. Welcome, Lisa.
Hi, everybody. I'm an alcoholic. Yeah, I could relate to a lot of this. I never mixed milk with whiskey, but I'm sure if I didn't have anything else, I would have. Also, I had some other times where, you know, I was having stomach problems and I was drinking citrus drinks, and, you know, someone said, just switch to ginger ale. And so I did. And, but nothing changed. You know, the alcohol and what alcohol did to me. The insanity, and I never got that, and I'm just so grateful I'm starting to get that now, the insane thinking. I can con myself and make every excuse where it's going to be different this time, and I have decades of history to prove otherwise. Yeah, it's going to be different. It's going to be worse. That insane thinking, and you know, if I got off track today, yeah, you know, I'm coming up on a couple months this time, and if I don't do what I'm doing every day for my recovery, it'll be right back there. You know, those excuses and making, you know, it's going to be different. And I'm just so grateful to be learning about my behaviors and my reactions. You know, when I get agitated, I mean, this is my disease, and I got to get to work. You know, I got to start looking inside, you know. But yeah, it's really it's really scary to think about sometimes some of the things and situations that I was in, and even in another meeting I was talking about you know, getting like the inside. I wasn't shaking, but like my inside was shaking. I was like a binge drinker. So the amount of alcohol I put in my body in such a short period of time, and the next day, even throughout that whole next day, that feeling, that shaking, I thought I was going to have a heart attack. And I would convince myself, that's my blood sugar. I don't have diabetes, but I think it was the blood sugar from the ginger ale. And, you know, I was in another meeting and somebody said, Lisa, you probably had alcohol poisoning. But my head wouldn't let me believe that, because then I'd have to really look at it and stop. But yeah, it really is cunning, baffling, And I'm just really grateful for the willingness to learn and find out more about my disease and how it works me in more ways when I'm not drinking. And but I can see, and other people see change in me, and I'm really happy about that, and I'm gonna keep coming. And that's it.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Glad to have you with us tonight. Dolores, welcome.
Hi. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. My name is Dolores and I'm an alcoholic. I haven't had a drink in 2 months and I'm just taking it one day at a time. And I'm just happy to be here.
Well,
and that's it.
Well, thank you. And please, by all means, come back and join us at our other meetings. We would love to have you and join us on the journey.
Thank you. I will be back.
Thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and jump in here for a minute or two. And I'm going to start with something that I always say. We're 35 pages into the book, and this chapter is still in the area of where we are learning about alcoholism, and this chapter has to do with the self-diagnosis of our own alcoholism. And all of this is reflective thought and instructional ideas that it gives us. This particular chapter is about two things. It is about untreated alcoholism and the mental obsession. Now, folks, I don't know about you, but I can have all kinds of mental obsessions in life. I can obsess about people, places, things, jobs, all kinds of stuff. And guess what? Normal people do too. And that part that Paula mentioned earlier about not being able to do it on a spiritual basis. There's lots of people who are spiritual that can have mental obsession as well. But there's something that I have that they don't have. And that's the allergy that sets on the phenomenon of craving. And when I couple those two things together, along with having a spiritual deficit in my life, there's really no hope for me except for a spiritual program of recovery and a pathway to get there. So here's what I love about Jim's story. Hey, he's a fine fella from the way it describes it. But I like when he goes to work and in the morning for a business concern that he used to own. Just a thought to ponder. Is it possible that his father-in-law was maybe his boss? Because, some of you ladies, your fathers didn't much care for us being drunks, and they want to take care of their daughters. So oftentimes they will bail somebody out. So there can be food on the table for their grandchildren. So at any rate, he has words with the boss. He says everything was okay, but the truth is, did he maybe have a resentment about having words with the boss? Something didn't sit right? Then he decides, well, I'm going to go out to the country to see for a job prospect. And he stops at a roadside diner that he's been to many times during his periods of dry time that serves alcohol. Old haunts, old places, old friends, old acquaintances. It's kind of like walking into the barbershop to get a haircut. Not a thought of drinking. But then, all of a sudden, that thought comes into his head that if I put whiskey in my milk, I'm going to be okay. And he doesn't just have the thought one time. He takes action on it. As soon as he takes action on it, has that first one, the phenomenon of craving starts to kick in, and he has another, and he has another. The significance of that is that when we are dry, when we are detoxed, the mental obsession will always precede the first drink. Every time. I've never known anybody to pick up the first drink without thinking about it first. I mean, it's possible. I certainly don't know everyone in the world. That's just my experience. So, bottom line is in this story, it leads Jim back to the asylum. And again, it talked about he failed to expand his spiritual life. There's a couple of times that idea is introduced in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. A spiritual life is what has made it possible for me to not pick up a drink for a long period of time and string a whole bunch of days together. Am I still capable of mental obsession? Absolutely. Am I still capable of not being spiritually connected some days? Absolutely. But my experience is when I am spiritually connected to that power greater than myself, and Doji's having a dream, as you can probably hear, then that's what keeps that mental obsession at bay. And if I have the thought the first time, I know that I need to do something to get on track that will bring me back to staying spiritually centered and grounded. We'll have a couple of more stories to read in this book, in this chapter, that will be very powerful. But I always learn something new from it, and I always glean something more in my understanding of how this disease works in us. And I have to remember that it is very easy to have decades of sobriety and suffer from untreated alcoholism and live in mental obsession without ever picking up the first drink. And that's why this chapter always brings me back to becoming centered again, because it reminds me of who I used to be. I'm not anymore, but could become just like that. Kathy, Princess Pickle, good to see you, my friend. I have missed you. Welcome.
Hi, Jamie. Thank you. Hi, everybody. My name's Kathy, and I'm an alcoholic. And it's very interesting that our biggest enemy is our own mind. Left untreated, it's amazing what we'll do to ourselves. I was thinking about when I identified with Paula, and my car would go into the parking lot of a liquor store like automatically, and I have not relapsed since I found Alcoholics Anonymous, but I relapsed 1,000 times before I got here, because 1,000 mornings I promised myself, with the worst hangover possible, that I would never drink again. By noon, I started to feel a little better. The shake stopped, I got some food down my throat, and the horror, the remorse, the guilt, the shame, all that stuff had not just peeled away, because I rationalized. I really can rationalize almost anything and give myself permission. So by 5 o'clock, I was getting a bottle, but I would say to myself, this is just in case. And just in case always happened. If you plan for it, it's going to happen. The program of Alcoholics Anonymous is wonderful, but my connection to my God happens in these meetings. It happens person to person. The space between each of us is where my God lives, heartbeat to heartbeat. And that's how I stay sober. I came in, not court ordered, but I came in with the DWI. And I thought I would stay here for as long as it took to get out of trouble. But in that time, every day, I had a new reason to stay sober. Something new happened. I learned something new. I started to laugh again. I had some hope that for the future, that things could change, that I could have a better life. And I started to know more about alcoholism and that it was a disease of my mind. You know, the alcohol is one thing. If I just don't drink, that's one thing. But then what? Then I have this hole in my soul. I have the hole that alcohol filled. I now have nothing. So when I started to come to meetings, it started to be filled up with a higher power, with a God of my understanding. And I'll tell you that my understanding has changed over the years. But I've managed to put down the drink and stay in these meetings for over 34 years. And the reason is I don't go anytime without making a meeting. Because if I'm off, if I'm crazy and I start talking in a meeting, somebody's going to come up to me and say, you know, Kath, I think you need a little help there. Like the idea that you just put forth is not a good one. Where else? A sick mind can't cure a sick mind. I need other people in my life. And I believe that connection is the antidote to addiction. Connection to people, connection to love. And that's what this has given me, hope and love and a purpose for my life that I never had before I got sober. And I just always pray that I get to stay here. And if we can have a moment of clarity that gets us here, we can have a moment of insanity that can take us out. And it can take you out for a drink, and it can take you out permanently. But that's one moment of insanity. And if you feel that, you have to pick up a phone, you have to get a connection. You know, because everyone on this meeting will take a phone call from you if you're in trouble and you need help. So you have no reason not to ask for it. You've already, the hardest step in Alcoholics Anonymous is the doorstep. You've already gone through that. So just stay, all right? Come all the way in, sit all the way down, and just stay, okay? Just stay. You don't have to keep coming back. You have to stay. Okay, that's it for me. Everybody have a great night.
Thank you, my friend. So good to see you, and I hope to see more of you. Xavier, Barrister Pickle, come on back in.
I'm a much better half here.
Oh, hi.
Hey, my friend, good to see you. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Good to see you too. I just thought I would come on. I appreciate everyone sharing what I've heard. And yeah, thank you guys for being here. I love being a member of Alcoholics Anonymous. My name is Christine. I'm an alcoholic. Yeah, I love this reading because understanding that the insanity I was suffering in my mind as an alcoholic was written about in a book that was written in 1932 or whatever it is, was such a great relief to me when I was ready to read this first 164 pages with enough desperation that I was ready to accept these words. it was like, oh my God, I totally relate to this guy. This is the kind of contemplation I've done so many times before taking a drink, whether conscious or not. This back and forth, shifting my mind. Oh, it's okay. It's only once, but I'm doing it now, but that doesn't matter. And I just like can't believe the world I was lost in. And like the last person shared about, just like the disease centers in my mind. So I might be sober, but I have a daily reprieve contingent upon the maintenance of my spiritual condition. The book tells me that. Because if I'm not working this program, if I'm not going to God, if I'm not looking for a solution, if I'm not hanging out with other alcoholics in recovery, I'm back in my sick mind. And so one of the things that my husband and I have been working on, we're doing different like personal development things and stuff to do with his business. And there's a book that I've been listening to called Be Your Future Self Now. And because I'm an alcoholic, I always envision my future self drinking, which is so terrifying. It's like, why would I envision that for my future self? Like, my life is great. Why would I want to envision my future self drinking? And it's like, because I just am an alcoholic. I'm always going to romanticize the idea that I can have one drink and walk away and be okay. And that's never going to be the case with me. Like Mr. Pickles here said, once you're a pickle, you're never going to be a cucumber again. So what I've started doing instead is visualizing my future self having a really great bottle of Pellegrino with a lime in it, or something else besides a drink, because that is a very dangerous place for me to visit, even in my mind. And I have better ways and better tools and better, things that I can think of. So I'm doing that today instead. I got this guy too.
Yeah, cool.
Definitely worth staying sober for. So anyways, thanks for letting me share. Good to see everybody.
Thank you, my friend. So good to see you. Thank you. Bye. Thank you for coming in and joining us. Pinky Pickles, welcome.
Hi, Alyssa, recovered alcoholic. Sorry, I was being of service, so I missed the reading, question answers, and most of the shares, but I know where we're at. I've been paying attention to the study. And I wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to share on something that we hadn't read to, which I don't think I have. So, nothing in God's world happens by mistake. That's what you guys taught me here. Well, that's what you shared with me as your experience. Now I get to experience that by doing the next right thing, right? And so I host a big book study on Monday and Friday, and I attend this one. And wouldn't you think that they're all in the same spot, like area, but not the exact same sentence, but like it's all right here in this chapter, more about alcoholism. And I'm going to tell you all, here's humility. Something I never used to show, that I didn't think it was, yeah. But this will be the first time, because I'm going to go back and read the record, or listen to the recording, that I have read from beginning to end this chapter. I have never done it like from pick up to pick down, like it's always just been pieces, right? And so, every time I pick up the big book anyway, a spot that I read 2 weeks ago, I pick something else different out. So I'm not even going to go down that, but what I will say is that I don't think it's by mistake, right? So for whatever my higher power has planned for me, I'm picking up the message. I think I'm on the right assignment. If I'm missing this one, Trish, I really need a lot of help because boom, it's more about alcoholism. Snap right here in the face. And so I was listening to the shares, and I believe it's Christine Xavier's wife, Mrs. Martin, she talked about like sneaking the, oh, I'll just put it in with the milk so it won't. See, my train of thought was, forget the milk, that's gonna take up like space in my stomach, less calories, like just how am I gonna, where's my water bottle? And nobody will ever catch me unless they smell it. Like, that was, and just thinking about that like makes me queasy today, how sick I can acknowledge that I was before coming into this program. And wow, yeah, it just is, that is how, I mean, I knew my thinking was insane, but this really brings me in on focusing that thought preceding that first drink, that really I have to obsess about it. And Jamie said that, so that got me thinking too. So like a bunch of pieces that I'm picking up right now, and I'm not going to go into detail because it would take a lot longer than the reasonable amount of share, but that I am getting pieces from this, and I see like the points that are being shown to me like right there. When I open this page, oh, there was a reason why I opened it to this page. Thank you, God. Anybody get that after a prayer and meditation? Like, you open your big book? Okay. No, I'm not the only one? Great. So it's just, I don't know, like, tonight wasn't how I planned at all. And normally I would be really stressed out and have anxiety over it and be like, I missed this. But I just let it go. I let it play out. I picked up my phone. I answered my phone at 6:58. I didn't know that would take me until after 8 o'clock. And, but that's what this program has done for me, is it takes me out of the equation as a common denominator and making God and the people about me those ones that I don't necessarily, well, yeah, their welfare before mine, because I, completely would have been off in my 12-step, call. I don't like to call them those. My call with another sober person for support. That if I wouldn't have gotten text, is everything okay, that I would have gotten lost in that translation, because I was, that's my passion today. Like, outside of my children, it's picking up the phone when somebody is in need, when they're at that, when they've been given that gift of desperation, or when they don't know what that next right thought or decision is, but they remember it said, discuss it with someone immediately, so I'm calling you. No, you don't have to have all of page 83 memorized, but you picked up that phone. That's, here I am, and I'm answering your call. I make plans for my day, but, I let God take the wheel. And those are things I didn't do before. So and I don't even know if my share is making any sense to any of you, but it's making sense to me. And by me sharing this, I'm acknowledging to God that I see the work, right? That I see where He is with me, in all of it. Like, I mean, there was a situation where I was talking on the phone, you guys were muted, and something happened on the screen, and it was like, that was the moment that I needed to hear what God wanted to tell me for that conversation, and that's a spiritual experience, for me. Like, that just is, I don't know how, without coming up and like being, hi Alyssa, I'm right here. I don't know how much more He can let me know that He's here, because that's what happens, is when I'm in the work with other people, those are the experiences that I get to have. A lot of them are promises out of the book. A lot of them are, experiences that you guys shared with me, saying that this is what you get when you do it. And, that's what I get. And it's that understanding. So today, I'm not in my place in sobriety I'm no longer running away from that craving, right? Like there was a period of time in the beginning that I was trying to fight off the craving, and just I just don't want to drink anymore. And then it went to like the education period, which I'm still in, which I'll always be in. So like for me, I'm even like changing as I'm sharing. How embarrassing is that? Like I have to laugh about that because if I didn't, my fear of not being good enough would be like, gosh, Alyssa, and it would eat me up for the rest of the night. So yes, I'm doing things that react, like are adverse to what that fear is or to what that old behavior of, just sitting with it and you holding it. And, it's okay that it may not sound all right to everybody. It doesn't have to, right? Because this is my experience. And you guys asked me to share my experience, strength, and hope when I come into a meeting. So I guess I need to say that I haven't been truly sharing my experience, strength, and hope because I've had doubt behind it. But, that's more work. I'm giving Trish a lot of work. But, that gives, I love book studies because for me, they're so thought-provoking. And, if I'm going to continue something for a lifetime, it's got to keep me, like, engaged. And this is the way that, without, I stay engaged because I get the promises and I'm on a pink cloud all the time. I get to choose if I come off that cloud. I get the choice to come off of it today, not whether or not if I'm going to get there because, you guys gave me the tools to get there. But yeah, that was a lot of gibberish to you all probably, but that's okay. I won't apologize. I will thank you for letting me share though. And I'll just keep growing over here in the corner.
Thank you so much, Alyssa. For a period of time tonight, we had 5 generations of the sponsorship family here tonight as well, which is always wonderful. I love that we have this huge sponsorship family in this group. Trish, would you like to take us out with the reading, please?
Where? I'm Trish, I'm an alcoholic. And from page 164, our book is meant to be suggestive only. We realize we know only a little. God will constantly disclose more to you and to us. Ask Him in your morning meditation what you can do each day for the man who is still sick. The answers will come if your own house is in order. But obviously you cannot transmit something you haven't got. See to it that your relationship with Him is right, and great events will come to pass for you and countless others. This is the great fact for us. Abandon yourself to God as you understand God. Admit your faults to Him and to your fellows. Clear away the wreckage of your past. Give freely of what you find and join us. We shall be with you in the fellowship of the Spirit, and you will surely meet some of us as you trudge the road of happy destiny. May God bless you and keep you until then.
Thank you so much. And we've got a real special way of closing out around here, folks. A reminder that all of us are here because somebody else prayed for us when we couldn't pray for ourselves. And there will be 263 alcoholics that die in this country tonight from untreated alcoholism. 95,000 this year in the U.S. and 3 million worldwide. And many have been to Alcoholics Anonymous and decided that they couldn't or wouldn't accept what we have to offer. And it just doesn't have to be like that. So after a moment of silence for those who are still sick and suffering, we circle up virtually with our hands. And please join me in the Lord's Prayer afterwards. Here's your moment. Thank you. And you can feel free to unmute for the prayer if you like. Who will take us from shame to grace if we let Him? Our Father, who art in heaven,
who art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come,
Thy kingdom
thy
come,
will be done,
thy will
on
be done,
earth as it is in the
on
heavens.
earth as
Give
it
us
is in
this
heaven.
day our
Give
daily
us
bread,
this day our
and
daily
forgive
bread,
us our
and forgive
trespasses,
us our
as we
trespasses,
forgive
as
those
we
who
forgive those
trespass
who
against
trespass
us.
against us.
And lead us not
And lead
into
us not into
temptation,
temptation,
but deliver us
but deliver
from
us from
evil.
evil.
For thine is the
For thine is
kingdom,
the
and the
kingdom,
power,
the
and the
power,
glory,
and the glory,
forever and
forever
ever.
and ever.
Amen.
Amen.
Thanks for staying up with us, folks.
Good night.